So I've been thinking a lot about the sort of people who will benefit from my Spanish course, and I think they're the sort of people who are going to be deliberate about what they're doing. This morning I was deliberate about coming out and recording this video and talking about this, but now I am sat by a busy main road instead of the beautiful field that I wanted to go and set up in, because there was a tractor doing something in there at this ungodly hour in the morning. So here I am again, sat in my car, where, to be fair, a lot of my videos are recorded. A lot of the short form mini lessons that I do, I record in the car on the way to work, because it's probably one of the only times I get during a busy day. I work full time. I'm a dad and a husband, and yeah, a lot of you know what that's like. You've got stuff to do, busy lives. But if you are wanting to learn a language, there are lots of people who go and look for phrases online. They go and look for conversational Spanish. And to be fair, that is actually the aim of this, is to be able to have a conversation and to communicate. But at the same time, pulling at snippets of Spanish, little sentences here and there, unless you're already at a fairly decent level, it's not the best way to learn. So my course and everything I do tends to be pitched towards absolute beginners. And that for me is a very deliberate move, because that's the part of the process that I enjoy the most. I like taking people who think that they can't learn and showing them in the early stages very quick tips and hints and ways to get around, first of all, the fear of language, which a lot of people have got from school days. So again, that informs the type of people I'm working with. It's people who are in their 40s, 50s and 60s, who are perhaps rediscovering this desire to be able to speak a language. And then Spanish falls into their field of view, and it's got to be important, and that's key as well. That whole thing about being deliberate. If you want to learn a language, you've got to know that you've got the time to do it. You've got to carve out time for yourself. Now, if you're struggling to find opportunities to get some learning done, to do lessons and to get through that process, then you're going to struggle to make steps forward. So that deliberate action also involves you taking time for yourself and making this actually an important part of your routine and carving out some actual special time for this. So just like the way I take weekends and my drive to work to record content, if you're going to learn a language, you're going to have to find a part of your day or your week where you're able to sit down and dedicate yourself to this. The experience of learning a language can be very stressful, but it needn't be. There are lots of ways to make it pleasurable, actually, to actually enjoy the process. And that comes through seeing early on that it isn't this big, horrible monster. And actually, there are lots of shortcuts and ways to make it easier. So that's the first thing, being deliberate. If you're going to make the choice to learn a language, you've got to know that's what you want. It has to be a passion. It has to be something. There's a goal there. There's something at the end of it. Now, I could have gone down the private tutoring route. I could have booked a calendar out with students and done live lessons. I could have done that. At sort of like £40-50 an hour. I could have booked myself in a couple of clients on a weekday evening, a few days a week, and boosted my income that way. But it's not the way I enjoy teaching. The live one-to-one thing can be beneficial, but in the long run, it benefits the tutor more than the student, because if there's a problem where you have to cancel a lesson, then the student loses out, and also it's expensive. You're paying every week for 1 hour. That 1 hour is gone. It's generally not recorded, and you can't ask follow-up questions. You can't listen back to it. So you're relying again on memory, and maybe that week you're tired and you can't make 5 to 6 on a Monday night, or you don't want to, or something happens and you have to call the tutor, rearrange, and then your head's not in the right place, and you can't just pick it up whenever you want. It's working around a schedule that someone else is dictating. So I didn't do the live tutoring route. I have done that before, face to face, and it's a lot of fun and it can be helpful, but in the end, I just don't think it's a well-rounded way to learn, and I felt that I could do more. So that's why I've built an entire course of about 25 hours of tuition, and I did it the most natural way I could. I did it by taking 2 students who knew nothing of Spanish, and by teaching them, meeting with them once a week, twice a week sometimes. And occasionally, one of them would be ill, would be able to turn up, and we'd skip a couple of weeks. Absolutely fine. We'd pick it straight back up, and they had the recordings anyway. They could go away and listen to them. So I turned that entire process into a course, because there's lots of evidence to say that listening or watching others is a brilliant way to learn yourself. So you're actually benefiting from listening to them making mistakes and doing things wrong, getting things right, getting feedback, helping one another out. And it was just the 3 of us in a room recording these lessons. That's the best way I've found to be able to support people long term, because that deliberate action has to be something that you can lean into and take your time with. I've always been of the opinion that something like a language can be picked up quickly in the early days, but there's always going to be a plateau. There's always going to be that dip, or that moment where progress is slowed down, because right at the beginning it's like a rocket going off. But again, if you're the sort of person who wants to take this all the way, and generally I've found with clients and students that when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s and you're more established, you've got the ability to invest in yourself, but also hopefully a bit of support there to carve out some time and make this really special, because you've got to make it for you. It's really important. So yeah, if you are ready to learn Spanish, then I can help. And the biggest thing that I've done with the structure of my course is I've set it up so that you can get half the course and just dip in, and you've got those recordings for life. If you're not too sure, you can have all of the lessons as well, just as a one-off. Or there's a version where you get all of those lessons, but you also get access to me. So that's lifetime access to me. A private group where you can ask questions whenever you want, and monthly calls with the group. So however many students I end up with in that group, monthly calls, so we can work through things and get you unstuck. Now that to me is the most exciting way to teach, because I can take really passionate people who are dedicated and want to learn, and I can take them slowly and hold their hand on that journey. So that's what I'm doing, and I've really enjoyed building the course and doing these videos and explaining who I am. And there are a lot of people who won't resonate with the way that I do things, but that's okay. They'll find someone else. If you've seen some of my content and you want to check out the videos that I've made, go and have a look, see if what I'm saying makes sense. And if it does, let's talk.